Hello, 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 hello. I don't know who is here yet. If anybody is here yet, just give me I'll just set that thing so I can see you all. Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you can see me and hear me okay. It's been a pretty exciting day in children's literature world in Australia because we've had the announcement of the Children's Book Council of Australia Book of the Year Awards, and there's been, lots of tweeting about that and all sorts of things happening on social media. I watched the live stream of the announcement, and it was great. It was great to watch it kind of live. I've been at the announcement a couple of times when I was on the the council, I guess. I was on the national executive, and it's such an exciting day. And just congratulations to everybody who was either notable, shortlisted, or who won a category. I just think it's such a tick of approval to even be long listed, notable on it. So it's so exciting. But huge congratulations to all the winners. I hope there's lots of partying happening right now and a few glasses of champagne. So on to actually, before I start my 5 on Friday for this week, in the mail this afternoon has come the last little bits of Ava's Hermione costume for Book Week Parade next week. She is deep still in Harry Potter land. There is absolutely no moving her on from Harry Potter. Not that, you do move on from Harry Potter. I suspect Harry Potter is one of those books that you come back to time and time again. But yeah, Hermione again. Anyway, I just got from Book Week today, Book Geek, bookgeek.com, the Courage Badge. So she's going to be very excited about that. She hasn't seen that yet. She'll be very excited. And there's also the other badges. So while the owl might not have arrived yet with his letter for her, she does have the house pin, so I think she's going to be very excited about that. I've also got bits and pieces of my Book Week costume with me. I've got these socks. I'm going as one of the book characters of the books that I'm talking about today, Willow Moss, and I've got these kind of cool socks which are from Book Geek as well. They're knee-high socks, which I love, and they're banned books socks, and they're also mismatched, which I particularly like. I love a mismatched earring and I love a mismatched sock. So these are the titles, and these are with the titles all scribbled out because they were banned. So I'm wearing those with my costume. I've also got little book earrings. I actually have 2 sets of book earrings. The other set of earrings I have are a book and a bookworm, and they say reading is my superpower. And speaking of mismatched, I had a little girl in grade 5 come up to me last week in her library lesson, and she said, "Mrs. Daly, do you realise that you've got 2 different earrings on?" And I said, "Yeah, I do, darling." I said, "They're cool, aren't they? They're meant to be mismatched." And she was greatly relieved, I think. But I thought it was so sweet that she was very, sort of quiet about it. So I've got my reading is my superpower earrings to wear for most of the week next week. And then I'm going to wear these Book Geek ones on my actual dress up day. I've got my bit of tulle from Spotlight, a bit more tulle here. Got a bit of costume making happening this weekend. I have borrowed a velvet cloak. It is green velvet, which you can't see very well here, from a friend of mine. She was wearing it at my dad's 70th last weekend, and I pretty much ripped it off her back. I have a dragon because my character befriends a dragon. So, I have a dragon to wear on my hand, which of course we all want, don't we? A dragon on our hand. So yeah, that's my Book Week costume kind of half sorted. And while I was at Spotlight, we've got this weird thing at St Aidan. Oh, it's not weird. I shouldn't say that. We've got this rule at St Aidan's that students have to wear a ribbon in their hair, a navy ribbon. And they've started handing out slips to the grade 6 girls, which is great, getting them responsible for high school if, they don't have bits and pieces of their uniform. So Pud hasn't had bits and pieces of her uniform quite a lot because she's totally disorganised. And so she sent me off with some of her pocket money. When I went to Spotlight, I had to buy $20 worth of navy and white ribbon as well. So we have, there is no excuse now not to have a navy and white ribbon in her hair, can I just say? So, good old Spotlight. I worked at Spotlight for 10 years. I was in the haberdashery counter at Indooroopilly in Brisbane. Loved it. Anyway, so my 5 on Friday for this week are 5. Oh, my glory. Something's just come up on my screen. Oh, dear. I don't even know how to get rid of that. That'll do. My 5 books this week are ones that I have been really, really loving this week. And this one is an absolute favourite of mine already. Oh, Michael Wagner and Tom Gillett, their last book was just a scream. It was, oh, see, I'm not into football. I think it was why I love footy, and it was hilarious. I just adored it. I bought it for so many of my friends that had babies the year that it came out, with footy lovers in the house. And this one is just beautiful and probably more up my alley because there's no football in it. Although there is a bit of football playing, I suppose, and a bit of wrestling. It's got beautiful end papers. Tom Gillett does a gorgeous job with his end papers always. And I'm going to read you the first few pages. Good Night, Little Tough Guy by Michael Wagner and Tom Gillett. And I always say to the children at this point, so my job now is to read the words and you guys have got to read the pictures, because it's really important that you read the pictures as well. After a long, hard day of being very strong and powerful, all the tough guys in the world are settling down to a peaceful night's sleep. Can you see them? Look. The astronauts are already asleep. The wrestlers are resting. The firefighters are fitting in 40 fabulous winks. Nice alliteration. I love a bit of alliteration. So it goes on. There's both male and female characters pictured. I love this little sleeping soldier. You know, hello, bottom. You know, all the kindy kids. There's the bottom in the book. Anyway, thanks for that, Tom Gillett. There's lounging lion tamers lazily lapsing into the land of Nod. It's just beautiful. I love this page. And the beefy builders are giving their bulging biceps a break until breakfast time. It reads aloud beautifully. It is one of the nicest books in terms of reading aloud that I have read in a long time. I just adore it. It rolls off the tongue. It works really well. It's just, it makes me smile. It just makes me smile. It's a beautiful book, perfect one for giving to toddlers. And it's, yeah, I think it's going to become, I don't know, one of those ones that is just utterly giftable for new babies and for 1-year-old and 2-year-old presents. It's a beautiful nighttime story. It's just gorgeous. I love it. So Michael Wagner and Tom Gillett, I'm really pleased they've teamed up again with this one, and I hope they do some more together. Michael Wagner is actually the husband of Jane Godwin, and I reviewed Jane Godwin's book last week on 5 on Friday. As happy as here. So they're a very talented duo, and their son Will is in one of, well, it was actually one of Dan's favourite bands, the Smith Street Band, and I'm going to see them in September, so I'm very excited about that. So very talented family. All right, my next book is one that I know a lot of people have been waiting on. So almost all of you that love children's books will remember this book from last year. Do Not Lick This Book, about germs. They're back with there's a skeleton inside you, and it's so good. It's really good. So on the front there's this sort of gloss imprint of a hand, and that's the device in this book to go inside the book. In the last book you sort of touched the germs and took them out and put them on various parts of your body. In this book we're going to place our hand on the book in order to enter. Again, great end papers. Love an end paper. Quog and Ort are on their way to Kevin's birthday party. Unfortunately, there's been a slight detour. Don't worry, Ort. I'll fix the ship and we'll be on our way in no time, just as soon as you open the door. I can't open doors. I'm a gas cloud. It's so funny. It looks like they're going to need a hand. It's just that us blobs aren't very good with door handles. Turn the page to help Quog and Ort open the spaceship door. Oh, good. The door opened by itself. I don't think so, Quog. Look, someone is reading this book. Give Quog and Ort a wave. And you ask kids to wave at the book, and so it goes on. And in this book here, we actually find out about what's inside your body. It says to give this page a push right here, and then we put our hand, wrong hand, but I can't do that when I'm holding it up, and we go inside and we look at skeletons inside the body. So it's a similar idea to the last one, very medical, quite scientific. We look at the tendons and the muscles. I think they're muscles, actually, not tendons. Don't really know the difference. Then we close our eyes and we turn the page without looking. Yeah, it's just really fun. It's so much fun. And at the back, like in the other one, there is some more information to go on with. And again, like in the last book they did, there's illustrations of the authors and a little bit about them. So I just really love it. I think it's going to be another one that becomes very, very popular with young readers and with teachers. When I went down there, did you see all of the mess? See how I strategically sat in front of the mess in my office doesn't my office look neat? And then I move, then you can just see all of the rubbish. I think they're really good ones to have together. I don't really know why Allen and Unwin didn't do them the same size. I'm a little confused by that. To me, it would have been, you know, if they're companion books, I would have quite liked them the same size. But maybe it's to do with the fact that this one is a skeleton, it's just taller. And I do quite like the way, sitting on a shelf, the hands stick out the top there. Anyway, that one is just fantastic, and I'd highly recommend it. My next one is Kelsey and the Quest of the Porcelain Doll by Roseanne Hawke. I really love everything Roseanne Hawke writes. I think it's because oh no, that was Chickpea's bookmark. I am going to be in so much trouble. I think it's because I've known Roseanne Hawke as an author for a very long time. I've had her speak at my school a number of times now. All of the schools I've worked at, in fact, I think she's been to. She used to be an aid worker in Pakistan, and she's just lived a really interesting life. She's travelled a lot. She's done a lot of missionary work. She's done a lot of aid work. She's just a really deeply good, kind, delightful and interesting person. Her books are incredibly well researched, and this one is no exception. So this one is set after the 2010 Pakistan floods, which, you know, a lot of young readers won't know about, but will have had experience of floods and other natural disasters. And this is a nice one for looking at natural disasters, for looking at adversity, but also for looking at different cultures. So this one is set in Pakistan, and there's a lot of culture in it. There's a lot of Pakistani words. There's a lot of reference to food. It's a really great one for looking at other cultures. So Kelsey is in Pakistan because she's from Australia, but her parents are aid workers, and they have gone over to help in the aftermath of the 2010 Pakistani floods. Kelsey's deeply unhappy about this situation. She really just wanted to stay at home in Australia, and her grandmother lives with them in a granny flat out the back, and she's really missing grandma and doesn't understand why she couldn't just have stayed at home. My phone is ringing. And she Skypes her grandmother almost every night from Pakistan just to keep in touch with her and keep in touch with news from home. And her grandmother starts telling her stories about a beautiful porcelain doll, which is pictured on the front cover. And she tells her stories every afternoon of what this doll might be doing, and it's sort of, she imagines that it's, grandma imagines that it's traveling to Pakistan. So the story is a third person past tense narrative, but it's got multiple points of view. So there's 2 points of view. There's Kelsey and there's also the doll. So each chapter is told alternatively. So we've got a Kelsey chapter, and then we've got a chapter from Amy Jo, who is the doll. And there's a few illustrations to start each chapter, and it's really nice. It's aimed at about a year 2, 3, 4, 5 level. Our extension English girls in grade 3 study it quite deeply. My grade 2 daughter is reading it at the moment. There's nothing inappropriate in it. There's nothing terribly scary, but it is a really good one for looking at world issues and the importance of aid work in the world. There's also a companion novel to this one called Jihan and the Missing Dog. I think I got that title. Curious Case of the Missing Dog. I just mixed up the Mark Haddon book. Something about a missing dog. Anyway, there is a companion novel to this one, which is sort of, I guess, a boy protagonist. Jihan, who's been living in a tree in the Pakistan floods, and he finds this missing dog, and in that book the points of view are from Jihan, the young boy, and the dog. Really great ones for studying in school, but also just really lovely ones to have a look at for personal use at home. Roseanne Hawke has written about 25 books. They are mostly set in other countries. There's a couple that are fantasy, but most of hers are either historical or realistic fiction set in places like Pakistan. And I just cannot recommend them highly enough. They're incredibly well researched. They're carefully written. You're left with a sense of real warmth after you've read them, and that you've learnt something about the world and caring for people in the world, but you've also just deeply enjoyed the reading. So yeah, great one to have a look at. Really love her, and I've got her coming to school next Wednesday and Thursday to work with our students. Okay, my next book is Starfell, the first in the Starfell series, Willow Moss and the Lost Day by Dominique Valentine. Magic is Waiting. We've been listening to this one on audio, and I've also read it. This is who I'm going as to the Book Week parade. So yeah, good luck with that, Megan. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. It's really lovely. It's for little people who want to read Harry Potter, but they're too young. It's for anybody that loves magic. It's a nice one to read after maybe Karen Foxley's The Most Magical Girl. It's about Willow Moss. She's the youngest of, I think she's got 3 sisters and she's the youngest. And all of her sisters are magical. They've got special talents and can do pretty amazing things. Willow's special talent is that she can find lost things. But she's young and she's often left at home while they go to fairs and do fortune telling and that sort of thing. And she's just a little, you know, unhappy with her lot in life, basically, as she should be, younger sister and all that. Not that I would know because I'm the eldest, the privileged eldest. Anyway, Willow is visited one afternoon when she's at home alone by the most powerful witch in the district. And this witch needs her help because Willow finds lost things. And what is lost in this case is Tuesday. Tuesday has gone missing. And Willow thinks, oh, well, it's only a day. It's not, she's sort of a bit like, oh, is it really that important that we find this lost day? Well, it turns out that it is, because all these characters then start to talk to her about all these dreadful things that have happened because they've lost a day and they don't have any memory of this day. And really awful things have happened. And anyway, so Willow and this witch go on a quest. It's a real quest book. There's some really fantastic characters in it. There is a dragon. Where's my dragon? With a St. Aidan's ribbon on it now. There's a dragon in the book. There's some broomstick shops. There's all sorts of things that you want in a magical book, but it's also just a really good quest book. Nice one to read maybe after the Rowan of Wren books as well. This is really quite cute, this little dragon. I'm quite happy with it. Anyway, so Willow Moss and the Lost Day. It's going to be really popular with like middle primary. So we've been listening to it and I've got an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old. They're both utterly entranced and didn't want to turn off the car the other day. They sat in the car for quite some time. But I think you could go higher or lower as well. And for anyone who has Wheeler's e-platform at school, which is an audio or ebook listening device, and for any parents from my school that are listening, we have it on Wheeler's, but you can't borrow it at the moment because I still have it out for another week. Anyway, my final book is Take the Shot by Suzanne White, and this is a middle grade novel moving into young adult territory. So I was asked on, I think I did a radio interview yesterday, and I was asked about what is middle grade and what is its purpose. And I said middle grade is a stepping stone from primary school books like this one, which are very safe territory, into young adult books with all of their sex, drugs and rock and roll. Can't find one at the moment. But middle grade are a stepping stone. They don't have all of the sex, drugs and rock and roll, but perhaps they allude to it. And it's a way of holding a 9 to 13, 12, 13, 14-year-old's hand as they walk from primary school books into young adult territory. There you go. I can see one now because of you. You know, I'm not going to give that to my 11-year-old to read. There is all sorts of things happening in that book, which she doesn't need to know about just yet. But I would be quite happy for her to read this maybe next year when she's in grade 7. So in this book here, we have a main character called Bug, and he has got a big secret. Actually, he's got quite a lot of secrets. He has a syndrome called Marfan syndrome, and I have taught 2 children in my 20 years as a teacher who've had Marfan syndrome. It's a syndrome where your limbs are very, very long, and your fingers in particular are very long and can become almost a bit twisted, and you have some clumsiness associated with the length of your limbs. But it also, more scarily, affects the heart. It puts pressure on the heart. So in this story, we've got Bug, who is really, really good at basketball, and he lives for basketball. It's also how he has always made friends at school. He's diagnosed with Marfan, which his father also has, and it's a genetic disease. And his parents instantly tell him to stop playing basketball, as I would too, because they want this kid to stay alive. They don't want anything to happen to his heart. He has to change schools around this time as well. His father has had an incredibly traumatic thing happen at work, actually. He is depressed. He is not working. There's an inquest into what happened at work. They move in with Bug's grandmother, his father's mother, who is the craziest character. She has like a teepee in her backyard, and she goes off to Zumba classes, and she speaks to spirits in the room. She's really great. I really like the grandma character, but his family have to move in with grandma, and they're really not happy about this because grandma's a little crazy, and he has to start a new school. He encounters a not particularly nice boy at school, very, very tough guy who plays footy, and Bug's really trying to establish himself at this new school, and the only way he knows how is through basketball. So he in fact ends up joining, or even actually starting, a basketball team, and he has to keep that a secret from his parents, obviously, because they won't let him play basketball. But they are very distracted by what's happening with the dad character. My dog is driving me absolutely insane. So there's a lot of family stuff going on. There's a lot of school stuff going on. There is a love interest, which happens, which I saw coming, but was done really beautifully. And it's just subtle. It's middle grade. There's nothing too heavy. But it's one that I think will entice reluctant readers. It will entice kids who love sport, in particular basketball, although football is discussed quite a lot as well. But it will also, it has enough other stuff in it. Like, I hate sport with a passion, absolutely loathe it, and I still really enjoyed the book. So it's got enough for those sports mad creatures, but it's also got enough other stuff going on that just everybody will enjoy it, I think. So it's a good one to have a read of, from I would say 12, 13, 12, it'll be all right from 12, and it's great. Now, interestingly, the author, Suzanne White, this is her first book. I've never heard of her. I've tried Googling her. Suzanne, are you out there? I can't find you. But I did find out that she is actually a doctor. She is a clinical geneticist. So I thought that was really interesting. And I did wonder, as I was reading the book, if she had experience with Marfan syndrome herself, but it turned out she works in that area. So yeah, I think it's really great when we have people writing books like that. I can see Sick Bay on my shelf there. I talked about this one a few weeks ago by Nova Wheatman. It's about type 1 diabetes, and I think it's really nice when we have books with central characters with either some health issues or some family issues going on. You know, I love a grief book for obvious reasons. I have a whole shelf of them. But I think it's really important that kids see themselves reflected in the books that they're reading. And I think it's really important that their peers see their friends reflected in literature so that they know what's going on for some of their peers. It helps to develop empathy, kindness, compassion, understanding, all of the good things that make the world go round, which aren't happening in the world at the moment because the news is a horrible place. I'm also subtly doing a bit of product placement. None of you will have noticed. But today, the all-new must-have Orange 430 by Michael Speechley was named an honour book in the picture book category. And just by chance, in the mail today, I got his new book called The Gift. I'm not going to show it to you because it probably has an embargo on it, but it made me a little bit weepy. It is utterly beautiful. I can probably show you the end papers. Oh, Michael Speechley, come on, dude. I thought there'd be weeds on them. Here, I'll show you the whole cover. Look at that. It's just beautiful. I will show you the page with all of the weeds. I'm probably not allowed to do this. Maybe don't tell the publishers. It's just really beautiful. Yeah, I think it's going to do really well. Actually, I'm not going to show you. I'm probably not allowed to. But it's really lovely, and I will share that one when it is out in a month or so. Anyway, I should probably stop talking. This is a ridiculously long time to talk. I will show you one last thing that I got from Book Geek. How good is this? It's my new key ring under his eye. Love it. So, yeah, anyway, love a bit of Book Geek action. I will probably drop in over the weekend and maybe do another Facebook Live about Book Week stuff. And I pray for me, people. Book Week is about to start. I've got 5 million speaking gigs next week. I've got my Book Week stuff happening at school. I've got my own kids' costumes. I love book week, but it's really tiring. So yeah, I should probably go have a nap. Anyway, have a nice weekend. I'm now just rambling aimlessly because I don't really have anything else to do.